Hey everybody, this is Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Inc. and I am here today in this video to show you the latest addition to the Tiny Town die collection. This new accessory set is called Tiny Town Sweet Shoppe, and it'll take your basics collection and turn it into a cute little candy shop or a bakery or just about anything else you can imagine depending on how you accessorize it. Alright, so first off, I'll show you the dies a little bit. We have, like I said, this is an accessory set for the basics, Tiny Town Basics set. This is the main die from the basics set. You will need this to create the little buildings using Tiny Town Sweet Shoppe. This is your base building. And then the Tiny Town Sweet Shoppe has a cute little awning, a striped awning, and new window and door openings, as well as coordinating window frames and door. And there is also these cute little window boxes and flowers and a little hanging sign. Here's one that I created that I turned into actually a little fabric shop. And it's just large enough to hold a couple of fat quarters. So it would be a really fun little gift for a friend that likes to sew or quilt. And you can see here there's the cute little window boxes and the awning and the sign, which you can get really creative with stamping different things on. For this one I used Button Boutique and stamped this cute vintage sentiment for my sign on the front of my quilt shop. But you could turn it into a bakery, a candy shop, flower shop to package up some seed packets, or whatever you can think of. Gift cards would be fun to present in here. All sorts of different options with this new Sweet Shoppe accessory set. Okay, so I want to just walk you through the assembly and the die cutting process for the Tiny Town Sweet Shoppe. It's pretty similar to the Tiny Town church or school. If you've had any of those, I did a video on those when they were first released. The one thing that's a little bit different about Sweet Shoppe is all of the other collections that have been released so far are designed so that the front of the building is on the peaked end of the building. The Sweet Shoppe, we're going to turn it around, and actually the front of the building is going to be on the flat side. So just kind of a different look there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a sheet of mint julep cardstock, and I'm just going to walk you through the die cutting and assembly process. You can get one building out of one sheet of cardstock, the base of the building I should say, if you're a little bit careful about how you cut that. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to put this on my cutting plate, position it on here so I can show you how easy this is to really kind of run everything through at one pass. Okay, so here's my base die. Here is the window and door cutouts that you want to cut from the building base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that in this opening in the die. And remember, we want the door, the front of the building, the door, to be on this side that has the flat roof, not the peaked side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the window and door cutouts right inside that opening, and I'm going to position that die right up along the edge, the bottom edge there. And I'm going to use just a post-it note and just kind of make sure that it's centered within that opening and that bottom edge is flush with the edge of the base die. Okay, and then we have the window cutouts, and this is going to get positioned on the other side of the building. And I like to use post-it notes to just kind of line everything up and stick everything in place. Now when I position this one, I'm going to make sure that it's centered in that opening, and also that the tops of the die, the tops of this die is kind of level with the top of that die. That will, and you can measure if you want, but I think it's pretty easy to just eyeball it. So I'm going to just hold that in place, and then I'll go ahead and run that through my die cutting machine. Okay, so I'm back and I can go ahead and take that off, and you can see here now how we have our 1/2 of our building base. And it has the window and door cutouts on what's going to be the front of the building, and then just the 2 windows on what is going to be the side of the building. Okay, so now we're ready to cut the second half of our building. Remember, you always need to cut 2 of the base to create 1 box or 1 house. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the rest of the sheet of my mint julep cardstock, and then I'm going to take just the window cutouts. I do not want to cut another set of doors and windows. That would be a little strange to have a door on the back side as well. So all I need on this one is a set of windows, and I'm just going to kind of position that about the same height. You can go ahead and kind of measure by laying your other die cut on top. Just kind of eyeball. I just eyeball it. Works pretty slick. You can go ahead and measure if you want to be real precise. I'm more concerned about getting it straight. So make sure the bottom edge of that die is kind of level with the bottom edge of where your fold line is going to be here. Okay, so then we can go ahead and run that through our machine. So there we have both halves of our Tiny Town Sweet Shoppe, so we're ready to assemble. If you would like to have windows on the back side cutouts as well, you can run that through your die cut machine a second time with that window opening die nested inside of there. Again, you can run it through a second time. But I'm going to just leave it as is and leave my back side just solid. So we're ready to go ahead and assemble. And what I like to do, I like to just kind of get those fold lines started. There are score lines built into the die, and of course they impress from the front side of the cardstock. So it's a little bit easier when you start off to kind of fold those forward, and that's the wrong way of course, but it gets them started and makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of crack all of those score lines. Okay, and then I'm going to fold them to the back side. Be a little careful there where the door is. That's a kind of a smaller area in there, so just take a little extra care with that area when you're folding it to get a nice fold. Okay, so then we can go ahead and take some score tape. I like to use 1/4 inch score tape on these flaps. I'm just going to put that on the 2 side flaps. And then we can attach the 2 pieces together, make sure everything's nice and straight. Those top folds line up and the bottom folds are lining up. Before I do that, I'm going to actually put some score tape on these bottom flaps as well. And then go ahead and close up your building. Making sure to get everything nice and straight. Then these bottom flaps can be folded in, and one of the base pieces, attach those to those flaps. I like to add some adhesive to those just because it feels like it makes it a little more sturdy. And then I'll add some score tape to this last bottom flap. Okay, so there is the front of our building. Okay, and when you're ready to close this up, you can have a couple options. The basic set comes with a little handle. You might want to add a little bit of adhesive on here. It depends on what you're putting in there. Might want to put some temporary adhesive on there to help hold those flaps inside. Or you can tuck those in and add a little adhesive on these flaps if you're making more of just a permanent decorative building. So a couple of options there. There's holes here you can tie some twine through. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the awning. I have the awning base here cut from white cardstock, and then the stripes, which are also dies included in the set, and I have those cut from some pale peony cardstock. And there are score lines built into those, so you can go ahead and bend those up before assembling it. I like to just put my fingernail, find that little scored indent with my fingernail, and use that kind of just to guide it along. There's a score line across the bottom scallops on the base of the awning as well. So we're going to fold that too. And I have some score tape. This is 1/8 inch score tape already put onto the back side of my stripes. And there are 3 stripes. So I'm going to start by putting them on the second scallop. So there's 1, 2, 3 stripes. Okay, and then we can add some score tape to the back side of that. When you add, I'm going to add a strip here by the scallops, but don't put it right up against that score line because it does extend beyond the edge of the building a little bit, just so it kind of sticks out a little bit for a little dimension. So don't put your score tape right up against that fold line, otherwise it'll be exposed. And then you can just go ahead and add that to the roof. And that fits just right underneath that score line for the top flap. Okay, and there you go. And then you can embellish your building however you'd like with the cute little window frame cutouts, the door. There's also this cute little sign that can be added to the side. If you're going to do that, just go ahead and fold this base, I would call it, which that will then get adhered to the side of the building, and it'll fold out like that. So there's also some cute little window boxes and flowers to fill them with. You can cut the flowers from colored cardstock, or you could cut them from white cardstock and use markers to color the individual flowers like I did here. Okay, so that wraps up this little intro and tutorial on how to assemble the new Tiny Town Sweet Shoppe dies, and these will be available for purchase beginning on July 15, 2016 from the Papertrey Inc. website. Thanks for joining me. This has been Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Inc.